Dolce here. Thanks for tuning in. I've got a little something to show you today in regards to playing acoustic direct into a mixer, PA, etc. I've been fortunate enough to be on The Voice here in Australia for the past 9 years, and I've got to say I've always struggled to play acoustic on the show, only because it's really hard to create a nice feel when you're going direct. You know, there's all that quacky sort of noise that comes with piezo pickups, etc. Now, it's only been the last few years where I've started to experiment with acoustic IRs, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing on the show. And not only does it feel fantastic underneath the fingers, but sounds great in the mix as well. It does give that sort of a mic'd sound, mic'd acoustic sound, which is a lot more sort of pleasing to my ears than using a piezo pickup. Now, the first thing, if we come over to my AXE Edit 3 here, I am using the AXE FX 3 at the moment, and what I'll be doing is showing you exactly how I set up my acoustic sound and setup, and how I bring in the expression pedal here to create different EQs. So, you know, I might have one for a finger style pick-in with some more compression on it, and then I'll have another EQ setting for when I'm sort of strumming away, maybe in the chorus section, for example. So I'm going to bring you over to my AXE Edit 3 here. Now, the first thing I wanted to show you is these two EQs here. Now, I've got this set up, as you can see, a bunch of mixing blocks here. Now, I've put my direct sound, so this is the pickup that you're going to be hearing right now, which is this sound here. Not a great sound. The preamp that I'm using at the moment is the Fishman. The reason why I use this particular system and not one of a palathetic pickup, you'll find a palathetic pickup in a Takamine guitar and a Mason guitar. They are fantastic pickups, but what I do find with any type of direct pickup is that when you start strumming and strumming a little bit harder, you do get a lot of quack. Regardless of the pickup system, it always sounds like it's direct. Not taking anything away from the actual system and the way they make those guitars, because they're fantastic. And I do still use my Takamine acoustic with the palathetic pickups for certain applications on the show. Now, in saying that, I have tried the IRs with the palathetic system. Now, from my understanding and what I've sort of figured out over the past few years is that the IRs don't really work that great with a palathetic pickup, and I'll tell you the reason why. I found that because the palathetic pickup allows more of the soundboard to come through in that particular system, and a lot more of the body sound, when you mix the IR with that pickup, it becomes a little bit too much. There's a lot of frequencies that are sort of clashing, there's overtones happening, and you do get a slightly out of phase sort of sound happening. Now, with this Fishman pickup, it doesn't pick up the body sound at all, really. What you hear when you hear a piezo pickup, you hear more of the bridge sound and not the body sound. So that's why the IRs work great, because the IRs are a capture of the body sound. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a insight of how this sort of works. Once again, here's my direct sound. I'm going to flick over to my other preset sound. Now, this is the one I use on the show. Now, I've got two IRs set up here, okay, captures. The first one I call Dolce C Acoustic IR left, and that basically goes into the left side, and Dolce H Acoustic IR to the right. Now, I do have these EQ'd differently as well, as you can see. And this creates a nice stereo effect. Now, the sound that you'll hear now, this is the IR. I've got a little bit of a reverb on that as well, which is a medium plate. Now, the other thing I do here is I have another set of EQs set up. Now, I do this on the show a lot, where I'll use my expression pedal here to expression and fade over into this set of EQs here. Now, once again, I've got these two EQs. At this point, they're identical. I've just copied them over for argument's sake, because once I'm on the show, if there's like a finger picking part of the song, might be the intro, I'll set maybe the top EQ here, the top two rows, to a finger style EQ. Plus I'll add the compression here that I've got in line, which makes the notes pop out easy, and I don't have to dig in as much, and it's a great little tool. So I'll bring that into play. Once I've finished that part of the song, I will expression pedal. I've got this set to my fades. Now, as you can see here, the two fades. So row 2 will be on when it's at minimum. When I'm expression pedaling at max, row 4, which is this one here, will kick into place and it'll turn row 2 down, which gives me that separate EQ, separate reverbs, etc., etc. There is probably an easier way of doing this, but I've come from the school of, starting to use the AXE FX back in, would have been maybe 2012, 2011 on the show. There were no scenes back then, so I had to sort of come up with a way where things would fade in nice and easy and smooth. And I still do it. I still sort of apply that technique to all my patches. I never use scenes, which is a great way when you're on set and everything's really dark. I just keep my foot on the accelerator here, and I just expression pedal down to fade into different sounds. Even with my electric guitar sounds, as mentioned, I might go from a dirty to a clean. Now, this particular sound, which is the top two rows, the separate IRs, separate EQs, this block here, I've got them panned left and right to give me that stereo effect, as you can probably hear. I'll just do a little bit more plain so you can get a bit of a gist of what's going on here. So okay, so moving on, I've just picked up my nylon acoustic here. It is a Godin multi-axe series. This particular acoustic has a great built-in preamp for starters. It does have the piezo pickup, so you're still getting that quacky sort of sound to the guitar, but alone they do sound fantastic. I'm just going to bring you straight over to the Axe edit here, and I'm going to show you exactly what I've been doing with this particular guitar. So once again, I have the IR sitting right here, and I've got my mixing block. In this instance, I've actually got a direct signal going through, blending with the IR. And the reason why I do that is I find that sometimes with the IRs, they can be a little bit scoopy. So the direct signal gives you just that little bit more attack. And I've only got it wound in about 27% there, as you can see. So the IR on row 3 is turned up on full. Now, I also have an EQ set after the mixing block, as you can see, and a nice reverb plate at the end of the chain. You'll probably notice on most of my patches I've got a separate output. That is basically for my in-ear monitoring. That way I can sort of turn up levels as I please, and it doesn't affect the front of house mix. So this is the sound with the IR. Bit of sting there for you. And without, and you'll probably notice it won't be that much difference, but you'll hear the direct sound with the slight quack to it. So here it is. Now the difference for me is under the fingers. With the IR, it seriously feels like there's a condenser mic in front of me, and all the nuances and dynamics just seep through. It's really easy to play. I'll do another comparison here. So this is the IR. So there is a noticeable difference there. So I might just play a little piece here to give you a bit more of an idea of how it sounds in context.